We're continuing with part 2 of Murfreesboro Storytellers, featuring Harold Smith, retired Director of Student Programming at MTSU. Harold, how did this happen that Murphy Center became such a center, if you will, for the entertainment that it brought into Murfreesboro and MTSU?
Well, Murphy Center as a venue, John, was probably the biggest venue at that time in the Middle Tennessee market area.
It was, yeah.
And of course, with that number of seats, has a lot to do with the amount of money that any concert tour can generate. How we got involved in it, it didn't take me very long to figure out that I couldn't book these shows. And the reason I couldn't book these shows was because that the shows were being put out by their management in a tour system and were farmed out to promoters in the respective markets of that touring system. So what we had to do was become involved with and try to convince as many promoters as we could that we could handle a show here.
Okay.
And we were successful in doing that. That's actually how we were able to attract the shows that we did. We attracted them through the promoters, which the groups went through on that particular part of their tour. And a thing to remember about touring is you can't do a show here on Tuesday and one in Las Vegas on Wednesday.
Right.
You've got 13 or 14 tractor trailers full of equipment that you've got to haul between shows. So again, Murphy Center was so critically located on any routing coming north, south, or east or west.
I guess so, yeah.
Many shows played Louisville or Lexington first, here second, Atlanta third.
Okay.
And all were throws that were easily reached between the shows. So that's how we were able to do it. Now we worked with a lot of different promoters.
I'm sure. Whose idea was it to take this approach?
I'll have to take the credit for that.
And well deserved.
Well, because I knew that we would be unable to book. I wanted to put Murphy Center on the map. Elvis Presley did that for us.
Yes, he did.
The Bob Hope, let's see, we played Bob Hope. We played Elton John. We played Chicago, all before Elvis, I think. You can look at the list.
Okay.
There might have been, Leon Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Leon Russell we played. But we weren't selling out completely. Now, Bob Hope almost did. He was the initial show, but he didn't sell us out. Elton John didn't sell us out, and there had to be a reason for that. People either didn't know who we were, so we had to find somebody that would attract the people in.
Okay.
And Elvis turned the trick. That's how we became well known among the different promoters. If this little institution in Middle Tennessee can handle Elvis Presley shows, then we ought to be able to handle most anything.
Anybody else, So you dealt with a lot of promoters from over the country then to bring in the various acts that you did.
Yes, we did. We dealt a lot with Sound 70 in Nashville, Cumberland Concerts, which was then a branch of Sound 70, Cellar Door, Concerts West, Management 3, concert productions out of Atlanta. We dealt with a lot of different concerts. C.K. Spurlock that managed and toured Kenny Rogers.
Okay.
Played here. Kenny played here a lot. Played here 3 or 4 times, and played here once as Kenny Rogers in the first edition in the old gym.
I'd forgotten that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So Murphy Center became the center for entertainment then for Middle Tennessee.
It was. It really was. And we had to refuse a lot of shows.
I was wondering, I guess a lot of promoters came to you.
Oh, well, that's
without
that.
you having to go to
Oh,
them.
no. I fell in line with the promoters. They would contact me and want to put a hold on the house, and for a particular act. That's how it happened. And we had to refuse a lot of shows because Murphy Center is used for other things other than concerts.
Right.
And we fell in line there.
So you had to work it in with the athletic program going on.
Oh, we did, and they worked beautifully with us. During those times, I guess Jimmy Earl was the athletic director at Middle.
Okay.
And I know on one Oak show, we did a lot. We did very well financially on that show.
Okay.
As I said earlier on, we promoted those two Oak Ridge shows. So we were in on a percentage as well as a flat on the split. And we did real well financially on those shows. And the concert committee selected to share the profit from that show with the athletic department. So we presented Jimmy with a budget transfer of somewhere around $18,000.
Okay. Not on every show, but it's at various
That
times.
show, that one show.
That one show was one particular deal. Okay. Give us some other memories of unusual situations to put the shows together.
Well, the one that really sticks out above and beyond all was the Judge farewell tour date. And that was the last date that they did on their tour together. And they chose to do it in their home state, and they chose here to do it. And the reason why it was such a trying, demanding time is because it went out pay-per-view, and the setting itself was phenomenal. It took us a week to build the set. And when you start trying to put a hold on Murphy Center for a week, that can get to be complicated.
I can imagine.
So we managed to get that done, and it was such a success that the same company decided the next year to come in and film Women of Country.
Okay.
And it was just a rundown of all the female country people, women that were performing then. And that went out, it was shown later on TV.
I see in your list you had wrestling in here as well.
Hulk Hogan came and wrestled in here. I guess he thought he could do about anything he wanted to do. We had him dressing in the football dressing room, and he wanted to be around somewhere where he could lift some weights before he came out to wrestle. So they had some weights in there when he was lifting. But after it was all over, he decides he's going to set off a pack of firecrackers in the dressing room. Well, it scared the heck out of me. I thought the world had come to an end. Somebody had gotten back there and killed them all. It sounded like. So by the time I got back there, I was with. Do you remember Doc Creech?
Yes, I think I do.
Doc Creech was the weight coach here then. Big guy.
Yes, right.
He was a big guy. Came here from Vanderbilt, as I recall. Anyway, I got to the dressing room about the same time Doc Creech did, who had come from his office. He wasn't here to see the wrestling; he was here working. And I thought he and Hulk Hogan were going to go after him. Doc was just about to give him more than just a piece of his mind. And we finally got that settled down and got Hulk out of here, and got a nice little note from Doc after that, apologizing for the way he responded to that. But I remember that. Why is it you always remember the things that scare you, John? I don't know. So
that's just human nature, I guess.
I remember a show that we did with Hank Williams Jr. And if there were 4 sober people in the audience, I don't know who they were. And the opening act was David Allen Cole.
Okay, I remember the name.
Boy, now there is a piece of work. And you put that put that act together and try to do something with it and keep everybody safe, sane, and sociable can get to be a bit of a problem. We had floor seats that were reserved, and some of these fans felt like they need to be on the floor where they had a ticket down there or not, and it gave our ushers a crazy time trying to keep law and order on the floor. Mm-hmm. So again, there's a rough time. You try to in the long run forget about, but don't.
Okay.
I guess Garth Brooks. I look at Garth Brooks. Those shows were easy shows. Mm-hmm. He played here 5 times. He played here 1 year, one time. Then 2 years later, or 3 years later, he came back for four consecutive shows.
Okay.
And it's not difficult at all when you do the same show 4 consecutive nights. The only real problem is trying to get the building cleaned up in order to get ready to go for the next night.
All right. Tell me about the Boston Pops. I've forgotten that one.
The thing that you say, Boston Pops, the thing that pops out of my mind first and foremost was it was a relatively simple show to produce, or the production on it.
Okay.
The demands, lighting and sound wise, were very small, and but boy did they! Now I got to watch a lot of that show. That was a good show.
You did? Okay. All right. Was that a large group of musicians? Large
it was the whole. Yes, it was 80 some odd musicians. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah. They did 3 or 4 dates on that tour. They had played somewhere in Kentucky the night before, and were somewhere in North Carolina
the next night.
Next night,
okay. How about Diana Ross? I'd forgotten about her being here.
Very demanding personally.
Okay.
We got here and found out that we had to build a tunnel from her dressing room to the stage, which we did not know about until that night. So there's no way we can build a tunnel. So the way we got by with that, there are some very tall curtains on rollers here.
Okay.
And we just simply put the curtains up, put them on both sides of her. She walked down between the curtains all the way up to the
That gave her a tunnel then.
That gave her a tunnel.
Yeah, okay.
That was that. Oh my gosh, how could I forget that? I thought I was going to get fired. Whitney Houston played here.
Okay.
And Whitney Houston had one number where she came off of the stage into the audience.
Okay.
And she ended up in some gentleman's lap that she chose to sing her song.
Okay.
So here we are with 12,000 people in this venue, and Whitney's off the stage trying to find somebody whose lap to sit down in. And lo and behold, she sits down in President Sam Ingram's lap.
I did not know that.
I thought, well, that's it. I'm out of here tomorrow, because he'll swear that I pointed her out to him.
Yeah.
Well, I got a call the following morning from Otis Floyd. You remember Dr. Floyd?
Oh yeah, very well.
Otis says, "Don't worry." He said, "Don't worry about what happened last night." I said, "I told him a little white lie. Told him that me and Whitney were the very best of friends, and that I had sicked her on him." So I never did hear anything else about that, but I didn't sleep much that night. So that was a time to remember. Another time, I don't know. Now that you mention it, if you were to stand up, John, here we are in Murphy Center. We're about even with one of the end foul lines. If you were to stand up and look to your right, you'd see an entranceway coming up onto the floor.
Right.
If you look to your left, you'll see another entranceway coming up onto the floor.
Commonly called a vomitory.
Commonly called a vomitory. I still hesitate to use that term.
Me too. I never liked it.
Vomitory is what it was. But this door is much larger than that door.
I did not know that.
And the reason it was as a result of a group called Earth, Wind, and Fire. they had an update to their rider. They always send their riders ahead of what is required of the show,
Sure.
what to do, what you've got to do on your end to put up the show for it to go successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had an update to their rider that they did not send to us. And when they got here, we found out we could not get their show into the building. Now, we sold 10,000 tickets to the show. We sold it out at the gate eventually, but so, I mean, here we go. I asked the road manager. I said, "Can we separate? Can we weld? Can we cut it, and then weld it back together after we get it in?" And he said, "Hell, you're gonna have to cut it to get it out." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "No, you're not gonna cut up my equipment like that."
Yeah.
So I went to Bill Smotherman, and I said, and knowing that he's gonna laugh at me when I say, "Bill, can I knock that wall down out there?" And I said, "Bill, I got a problem," and went through it with him. And I said, "We need 3 feet.
3 feet.
Maybe can get by with 2 feet if we bring this piece of equipment in sideways as opposed to this way."
Okay, yeah.
And he says, "Well, I'll go to the building and grounds committee now and the chairman and put it before them and said, go ahead and start knocking the wall down." Well, I like to fill out. I thought, I said, did you understand me? I said, "We got to tear the wall." He said, "Go ahead and get started on it." I said, "I don't even want to be here. When it's done, I will take care of that end of it."
Okay.
So we tore it out. We got the show in and out, and you can see the tall door as compared to that. That door at one time looked like that door.
I had never known that happened.
Well, and that door is finally referred to as the Earth, Wind, and Fire door,
Okay.
and that's why. And after that show was over, and they're loading out, Bill is sitting at the very top of the venue here, and I had to know. I went up there and I said, "Bill," said, "I can't believe that what we've done, what we did here tonight, you approved." He says, "Harold," said, "I've been here for 5.5, 6 years, or however how many years."
Yeah.
Said, "The goalposts in that building, I can't get out of the main, the main playing floor. I have to take them down and put them in the vomitories to get them out of the way." And said, "They're always in the way." Said, "Now I can get them out."
So it helped him as well.
Oh, that's exactly what had happened. It provided Bill an opportunity to take the goals down and get them out.
Okay. That's the reason he was so willing to help.
That's right. That's why he was so cooperative
Yeah,
there.
I understand. Okay. Anything else you recall like that, unusual situations that took place?
Well, they pop up as we keep talking, but the headaches with the judge thing really stood out. I do want to stop and say one thing about our student body's involvement with the production of these shows, because it was the students that did. Students were security for the upstairs. Now, uniform security came from on campus,
Sure.
but upstairs there are 96 outside exits to this building, and they're every one panic bar door, and you've got to keep them all open. So you've got to put guards on every door so someone doesn't come in, open the door, and let the whole crowd in.
Sure.
So, and the students, they were door security, they were ushers, they were ticket sellers. They did all of this, and it was a matter. And we always had a dress rehearsal before the concert.
Sure.
And it took about 100. It was about 100 students that were involved in it. We paid them for their efforts. We found out if you paid them, you could fire them. And there was always somebody else there to take their spot. We had plenty of people that were dying to get involved with that kind of thing at that time. So that's really the thing that I remember most is working with the students that were involved with our program.
What a wonderful experience for those students to have then.
Well, it was good hands-on. It was a good hands-on experience. They got a shot at the general public like they'd never.
I'm sure.
A lot of them had never been exposed to before, and it was good. It was good. Your son was one of them, as a matter of
I
fact.
remember Gary worked with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your staff. Otherwise, your professional staff.
Oh my gosh, I had the best staff in the world. I think I had maybe four secretaries. That position was the position that turned over.
Okay.
But I finally landed Joyce Warpool, who was undoubtedly God's gift to me as far as secretaries are concerned. Georgia Dennis, who did production, who did my advertising and promotion and ticket sales. She kept up with her ticket sales. We had to balance on a daily basis on ticket sales. And she did all that. Probably one of the most creative people I ever knew in my life.
Is that right?
Mimi Johnson, her married name is not Johnson, but Mimi took care of my committees, meeting with them. And Cindy Randalls took care of the tickets at Murphy Center.
Okay.
And they worked with me for a long time, a long time. And we couldn't have done what we did without my staff and a graduate assistant. We had several graduate assistants. We didn't have a position, but one graduate assistant in a position.
Okay.
But over the years, it changed. A lot of graduate assistants.
Harold, what a wonderful story. What a lifetime that you've spent.
Well, it's been a long time, John, and it was enjoyable. I got to meet a lot of the performers. Not intentionally. I didn't go around getting autographs or anything like that. Poor old Olivia Newton-John. Her drummer came down with food poisoning the night of the show, and there she was without a drummer.
Oh my goodness.
And there she is backstage crying her eyes out because she's up for Country Music Female Entertainer of the Year, and she's without a drummer. So we hawked around and finally came up with Ray Stevens, drummer. Brought him down from Nashville, and he drummed with her, and she tried to take him out of town.
I'll bet. I'll bet.
It was a wonderful show.
Harold, personally, you're a graduate of MTSU.
John, I'm not only a graduate of MTSU, my wife and my children are. The Harold Smith family have 7 degrees from Middle Tennessee State.
MTSU, born and bred.
Born and bred, we were.
Harold Smith, thank you. This is just tremendous, your recollections. I know there are many more stories that would come to light if we had more time.
Some we couldn't tell, John.
I'm sure of that. Harold Smith, former Director of Student Programming for MTSU. What a great story.